We are live.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Stephen Rice. I'm the, Economic Development Manager for the City of Annapolis. And welcome to our Economic Gardening Information Session. This is the second year of our program. Last year, we had 6 participating businesses, and our focus was on the maritime industry. The businesses that participated saw and thought that the program was value added and actually gave the program an average of 9.3 rating on a 10 point scale. So this session, we're going to have a presenter. Our presenter is Mr. Chris Gibbons. He's with the National Center for Economic Gardening. But before that, we're actually going to have an official welcome from Alderman Brooks Schandelmeyer. After the presentation, we will open it up for questions for the participating businesses in this information session, and we're looking forward to answering any questions you might have about the program. We're excited to be doing this again. The program was very successful. We want to support Stage 2 businesses, and this is the best vehicle we have within the city to do so. So at this point, Alderman Schandelmeyer.
Thank you, Stephen. So folks, welcome to this. This was the brainchild of Mr. Chris Gibbons, who is associated with the Strong Towns movement, which helps local cities and communities build a much more resilient, ground-up infrastructure and community. And by working with you guys, these Stage 2 companies that are putting in the work, that are part of the community and essential to the fabric of Annapolis, we can get a lot more helpful things for our city than if we had spent all this money in infrastructure investments trying to bring big out-of-town players into our wonderful little community. So the first round of this was an incredible success. Chris and his team have such a fantastic organization that's going to hook you up with some of the best market research and everything else that your businesses need to create jobs within our wonderful city. So thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much for your interest, Stephen and Chris, then Hope. Thank you for all you guys do. And now I'll hand it off.
Sorry about that. Also with us today is Hope Stewart, who's the small business liaison in the second half of the economic development team here in the city of Annapolis. And at this point in time, Mr. Gibbons, the floor is yours. And thank you, Alderman Schandelmeyer.
Thank you. Let me kick this up. Stephen, will you give me feedback? Can you see the lead slide, Annapolis Economic Gardening?
I see it.
Okay, I think we're off and running then. We've got about a 10-minute presentation, so this doesn't take real long. Just a quick little preface before we start. As was stated, the council, in addition to other traditional economic development programs, which generally is called economic hunting in the profession, but it also is the idea to invest in growing local companies, which is economic gardening. So I'm going to give you a quick program overview of the program. Just a second here. Okay, so here's the objective of the program. It's to increase your sales. It's just really simple, because when you do that, there's going to be more jobs and income for you, for your employees, for the community. And that's good public policy. So you might ask, so how do we do that? Well, consider this fact. Most marketing campaigns, so this is cold calls, direct mail, email blasts, Google ads, LinkedIn ads, have a 1 to 2% success rate. So we figured out a way to find and focus on that 2% at the start. So you didn't have to call on the other 98% and get turned down. We call it intercept marketing. So what do we mean by that? Well, consider this. When you make a purchase, you go through 4 steps, and it doesn't matter whether it's $1 million machine or a snack at a convenience store. You got a motivation. I need to replace the machine, or I'm hungry. You got an investigation. What are my options here? There's 5 different machines to choose from. You got an evaluation, which one's best? Machine 3 or chocolate if you're still in the convenience store, and then you make a selection, so you buy it. Traditional marketing focuses on step 1 and 4. We're going to motivate you, and then we're going to close the deal. Economic gardening marketing focuses on step 2. You already have some motivation. We don't need to do that. We just need to intercept you when you're in that investigation stage. So I want to just hang with me for a little bit. We're going to get to the real stuff here, but I want to use a children's game called Battleship as an analogy for how we work. And if you've ever played this game, you know that you hide your battleship and the opponents on the other side calls out the coordinates, you know, and they're trying to bomb you, D12, D22, etc. So what if those peg holes were the equivalent of prospects for your company? Let's say the board looks like this. There's 1,000 companies out there. And at the end of the year, the blue dots were all the companies in the trade area. The green companies actually fit the profile of who you're looking for. And the red dots are the 2% that actually bought at the end of the year. This is what it looks like at the end of the year. This is our problem. At the start of the year, it's blank. We have no idea where they are. So if you got a cold calling salesperson, they start up there at A1, A2, and they work their way across the board. Eventually, they're going to stumble into the first live prospect, B16. In fact, at the end of the year, they're going to have called on all 1,000, and they're going to have found all 20 of those who are in the market. The problem is, it's really expensive, it's really inefficient, and it's a really time-consuming process. What if there's a way to identify those 20 red dots at the start of the year and call on them first? Well, we know that those red dots give off signals of change, which indicate they're in the market. Something has happened to motivate them, and they're now in step 2 investigation. The signals are about something that changed, either internally or externally. It might be a new CEO or a merger and acquisition or a new product, lawsuit. We got about 25 categories that we take a look at. So we call this whole thing, this purchasing process, sales window. And contacting the company inside that sales window is a high probability sales call. And that window might be open maybe all year long if it's the big machine, but it might be open 45 seconds if it's the convenience store. But generally it's going to be open weeks and sometimes even months. Marketing before and after that sales window is a low probability exercise. Before, there's no motivation. And after the purchase, well, the probability drops to 0. They just bought it. So we look for step 2 investigation stage in 3 marketing channels: outbound, which is cold calls; inbound, which is your website, search engine optimization; and what we call watering holes, which is places that people gather together. So what do you get? You may wonder what you get as deliverables. Well, the short answer is a highly qualified list of prospective customers that are in the market. And there are a number of tools and principles and time-tested techniques that we use to get to that end. You can see the list here on the slide. But let me just show you some visual examples of what all that actually means. This is GIS, Geographic Information Systems, and it's basically just putting data on maps. So in the upper left-hand corner, that map is a heat map of current customers. This is just to give you a feel for the kinds of things you can do with it. In the lower left is a location of steel manufacturing companies, which are the dots, and the total number by states. So you can see the Midwest and Texas and California have big concentrations. In that upper right-hand corner is concentrations of heart disease. So note that lower Mississippi Valley area, pretty serious place to be living. In the lower right is whether the population drinks more wine. Note the 2 coasts are in purple. Or do they drink more beer? Notice the orange in the middle of the country. These are just examples of how you use GIS. There's hundreds of variations on plotted data. Excuse me. So database research, we subscribe to over 100 commercial database services. This is like the internet, but better and more expensive. Typically around $2,000 to $3,000 subscription for each and every one of those 100 database services we have. We can find new markets. We can do competitor intelligence. We can find company information, industry trends, and all kinds of customized research. I just want to take this one slide because it's always interesting to me, and it's what keeps us doing this. Is I want to just give you a quick example of the broad range of research we've done. So one company wanted to know what the market for DNA analysis kit was. A company in Louisiana wanted to know what the market for barge rentals were. Up in Washington State, they wanted a list of all the wine bloggers and influencers in the wine industry. But these next two show you the range of companies we work for. The first one made a digital scan and sent it out to a movie company in California, so Spider-Man could fly around those buildings. So later on in the week, we did a market report for an Amish furniture company, but we had to send it to a person in town that had a computer who printed it off, drove it out to the Amish farm. Super high-tech on one end, Amish buggies on the other. That's the range of work we do. The one I really like, which is this picture, and it's the market for floppy-eared, bomb-sniffing dogs. So as you can imagine, a sharp-eared dog like a German Shepherd make people very nervous in airports. But the floppy-eared version can move easily around through the passengers. The biggest problem is just keeping people from petting them. And as it turns out, there was a market demand for about 6,000 dogs a year, mostly centered down in San Antonio. And so if you're in this business, you don't waste your time in Minneapolis or Atlanta. Obviously, these don't apply to you specifically, but I'm trying to give you conceptually the range of work that we do. Digital marketing consists of search engine optimization to get your company up on the first page of a Google search. It also involves looking for the best keywords to use in Google Ads and social media. We can analyze your competitor websites. This chart is a simplified version. The real version is going to have about 50 items on it, but has these color codes. It shows how the client's doing in each one of these categories that Google evaluates. So our client was the fourth one over, had all that red color coding. The biggest competitor to them was just to the left of it, the green column. It doesn't take a lot of convincing to show them why search engine optimization is important. If nothing else, is to say, you're not doing very good and your competitor's doing good. I have no idea how the sales compare between the two, but if they're beating you, this might be an insight as to what's going on. This is another tool. So as I said, one of our key beliefs is the highest probability of making a sales occurs when a sales window opens. So we look for these signals of change to spot those open sales windows. So this is listening post. It's not really a radar like that, but we set up a piece of software called a listening post, and we also use network mapping capabilities to find these high sales calls. So let's just talk about the process real quick. We've got 3 or 4 slides left here. If you're accepted into the program, and we got 6 open positions, you get 40 hours of high quality specialist time. All of these tools that you see, they go to work for you. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks from beginning to end. We're going to need about 10 to 12 hours of the CEO time, and it's important the CEO be involved beginning to the end, and then be available another 4 to 6 calls, including a 1.5 hour discovery call. That we kick the whole thing off is we got to get up to speed on you and your business issues. And then the other thing is to complete a survey at the end and provide job numbers back to the city of Annapolis, so you can see whether that's working or not. Cost is $4,750. Here's the good news, is the city of Annapolis pays the full fee in exchange for participation of the CEO. Critical. Got to be there throughout the entire process. You got to be there at the completion of a closeout call and fill out a survey and tell us how we did. And so the city generally conducts a survey of increased jobs and income a year later, because a lot of this stuff takes a little while before it kicks in. I'm sitting here in Colorado and it is just starting to snow. So outcomes. This is based on us doing this for about 15 years, about 3,500 engagements. But this is kind of what we can expect. It is not unusual to see incomes increase between 15 and 30% over that next year. It is not unusual to see employment increase between 10 and 25%. But maybe most importantly is the company's going to be positioned for long-term growth, because we're going to talk about business models, and all of this is based on science. We're going to identify and help solve root problems that prevent growth. Sometimes it's temperament, sometimes it's competitors and size of market. And you're going to have a marketing plan that focuses on open sales windows instead of the 98% that's not going to pay off. How to participate. So if you want to participate, you make an application, excuse me, which is vetted against the criteria. And that criteria is that you be a stage 2 company, 10 to 100 employees, 1 to 50 million in sales, sell to external markets, CEOs involved. We're going to schedule a discovery call, as I mentioned, last 1.5 hours, so we can understand your business and its issues. We prepare a controlling document which contains the questions that you want answered. We're going to be staff to you. We're not consultants. We're not counselors. We're staff. We're high-powered staff. And you're going to get us for, the full 40 hours. You have to sign off on that. And if it doesn't look right, you tell us and say, hey, take this out. And can you add this? Or could you go deeper? Or could you change this? But you sign off on that controlling document, which is what we're going to go work on. And then you're going to get anywhere from 3 to 6 research reports come into you over the next 3 weeks, answering those questions. And I tell my people is in the short form, they're going to ask you a question, and in a sentence, I want you to answer those questions that they ask. You're going to get the full information and the reports behind those. We'll schedule at least 2 and maybe more debriefing sessions, which we'll go through you and hit the highlights of what we got there. And sometimes we have what we call a mid-course correction. You get the first round of reports, and then you say, oh, wow, I wish I had asked this, or can you go deeper in this? And the answer is yes, we've got that built into the process. At the end of all of this, then we do a closeout call and a little short survey. And it's got about 7 or 8 questions on it. Takes the whole process, somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how fast everybody can be responsive. So we're at the end. If you want more information about it, first of all, you can go on our website, which is economicgardening.org. And if you just want to get background on the program, you just put economic gardening in quotes. You just Google it, and you're going to get 100,000 hits or more. So you can kind of get a feel for what we've done and where we've been. Be sure to put it in quotes, or otherwise you're going to get vegetable gardens. So Stevens Rice public number, not his cell number, it's on there. And I'm going to turn it back over to Stephen to moderate from this point forward.
Yeah, I just want to say, briefly, and to somewhat reiterate, we're focusing on stage 2 companies because stage 2 companies have been proven to have an outsized economic impact on their local communities. And as they grow, because of where they are on the growth curve, they typically hire locally, and they also spend locally. So that's why this program is focused on stage 2 companies. I'm sure there's some questions, I would say, you can raise your hand if you see that option. And if that isn't an option, you can fire away. Hopefully you can unmute.
And while we're doing that, I might just mention, typically the stage 2 companies are around 15% of all the companies, but they're producing around 40% of the new jobs. So as Stephen said, you're punching way above your weight, relative importance in terms of bringing money into the community, circulating it among the local market companies, the restaurant and the attorney and the printer and the people like that. But you're the key to it. You're the faucet that's bringing money in.
And just once again, I mean, this is a great program. It received a 9.3 or an A rating from the participating businesses last year. They all thought that it was value added, and it's of no cost to you. We want to invest in businesses that have the potential to really help the city of Annapolis and its citizens. No questions so far.
Stephen and Chris, this is Beth Caro. I just have a quick question about the previous businesses. Could you mention the types of businesses that participated in the program the last round?
They were all maritime. I'm sorry, Beth.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, they were all maritime businesses. Coming out of the Maritime Task Force report, there was a desire to support the maritime business community. So we earmarked the program towards the maritime businesses. And I actually do have a list of the businesses. There was yacht services, a sailing school, a couple sailing schools, another yacht business, a school of seamanship, and a diversified marine business. So it was a little bit of a hodgepodge within the maritime community.
And we do have somebody from Annapolis Sailing School on this call. I don't know if they'd like to say anything about their experience with this program.
Hi, my name's Hunter. So I actually just recently joined as marketing and sales, and I joined this year, and I know that it was done last year. So I was logging in to just kind of get a little refresh on what it was. But since I've been here, the experience that I heard of, it was a wonderful experience. It was really cool. The data and the analysis to kind of work from the inside out. I've been here very shortly, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. So I just was logging in to just make sure all of my knowledge was up to date.
Thank you, Hunter.
Hunter, if you want to call me after this is over, I'm happy to brief you of what we did last year.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris.
You bet. I just realized you don't have my phone number. It's 303-670-3599. I am 2 hours difference from you. We're Mountain time. Actually, we're not daylight anymore, are we? We're Mountain Standard Time now.
Hunter, are you aware of any impacts of the program on the business from maybe a job creation standpoint or anything like that? I was just curious if you're aware and if you could share.
Currently, I'm not aware, but I have no doubt we could do a little bit more of a research and refresh and reach back out to you.
Any more questions or comments?
I just wanted to also share, Stephen, it's Beth again. And thank you, Chris, for the presentation this morning. I'm just digesting the website. So I just want to say there's a lot of good information on there. So what I'm already seeing, I wanted to make sure that if anyone else is on the call, they should definitely take a look at that website. It really has a lot of great information to help the businesses. So thank you again.
You bet. But what I've told Stephen this, is when I worked at the city of Littleton in Colorado, which is where we created this program, is that we would do this at a lunchtime presentation. We always said, if they said, can you, we were home free, because they understood what the concept was. They were just trying to apply it to their business. And so, we always wait for the can you question.
That's funny.
So Hope and I will be rolling out the application for the program in the next couple of days. Our application due date is going to be December 1st. And, we're definitely available if there are any questions. Most of you probably have our contact information. I'll provide my cell phone number as well, 443-808-5737. And of course, we're available via email and through our city phones. So we look forward to a great program. We hope that you all will seriously consider applying. We hope that you also spread the word. And we're available if there are any questions. We think that this program is a home run for the city, and it's a home run for the business community. So we'd like to keep it going. Well, thank you all very much. Chris, any final words?
No, happy to, if you want to call me directly, let me give you a phone number again, 303-670-3599. If you want to call with specific questions, happy to do that. We do that a lot. And like I say, Hunter, we'll get you up to speed on what we did also. So the other thing I was going to just make a mention is because, you know, there is a possibility that there's competitors, but everything we do has got a non-disclosure agreement on, and we do not discuss in between companies, you know, what we're doing there. What we found out in the maritime industry is they were all niche industries within maritime, and they weren't really competitors to each other. I was actually kind of surprised about how many ways can you slice and dice this industry. It was, you know, schools and repair and selling and all that sort of stuff. So I know we've got a maritime, you know, the Chesapeake Light Craft folks online, just so you know how we operate.
Hope, any final words?
No, we're just looking forward to working with the businesses this year.
Alderman Schandelmeyer?
Yeah, so thank you all for giving us your time today. This is such an innovative program, and we've seen great results from it. Hunter, I'd actually argue you're the job created from Annapolis Sailing School by participating in this program, and we're looking forward to many more jobs being created here in our community. And thank you all for your curiosity on this. I do hope you'll apply. There's a lot of great value out of it, and we're looking forward to really helping our community grow here.
Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you. Have a great day.